Hi everybody! Just give me one moment and we're going to start our live video. As you can see, we're doing tissue paper flowers with me, Miss Dawn, in just a moment. So here are the supplies that you will need. You will need tissue paper. You will need pipe cleaner, yarn, thread, bag ties. You will need a pair of scissors. And optional, you can have a string to hang them from. All right, so let's get started. So I gave a few examples of some flowers that you can make out of this craft. So I really like the multicolor kind. So this one is a lot of colors, it's very festive. And I actually secured it with some pipe cleaner right there. Right here, I have a slightly different style. If you notice, this one has some rounded petals. So the rounded petals, and this is something you can control, or we have spiked petals, and this one is a similar style to this. I used a string in the middle, which is a great idea if you want to kind of string a bunch of them together. And then if you wanted to just decorate a cool thing with some flowers and perhaps a butterfly, I could show you how to make that too. Okay. So what you need, as the sign says, I'm just going to leave this sign, the poster board here so you can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a middle. So I really enjoy using pipe cleaners. But you can use string also, or even those bag ties that you get when you get garbage bags. Those are great too, or some kinds of produce. Those are super. So basically at this point, what you want to do is you want to get your tissue paper. I have like a whole bag here. Now these are little squares, so they're going to make this kind of little tiny flower, which is very pretty. But if you have larger swaths of tissue paper, you feel free to, you know, make a very large flower. Okay. So I have a pile here. That is what actually makes it best, is the larger the pile, the poofier it will be. So basically, this is what you're going to do. Just need a little surface here to fold on. So you're going to gather all your tissue paper into a pile, just like this. And what you are going to do is you are going to start accordion folding them. Now I want you to notice something though. If you look at this one right here, I have kind of a middle, which to me looked like the middle of a flower. Sometimes they're different colors. You can absolutely do that if you want to. So all you would have to do for that is you would take a different color. You would take some scissors. And for these kind of squares, these are like pre-cut squares. Whoop, everything wants to fly away today. For these pre-cut squares, all you really need to do is just cut it in half. So I'm just going to cut it. It doesn't have to be exact. Flowers aren't always exact. Every flower has a story. And if you wanted to make it even smaller, you could cut it again, and then you would just have that square in the middle. I kind of like it a little longer. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to stack all your tissue paper together, and you're going to start accordion folding. So basically, what that looks like is you are going to fold just a little bit. You can make this as small or as big as you want, but the more layers you have, the harder it will be to cut. So I just fold it a little bit in half, or at the end, and then I'm going to flip it and fold the same size, and then flip it, and this is basically the craft. Flip it, flip it, flip it. Keep going with that until you reach the very end. There we go. Make sure those, just like with any kind of origami or anything like that, you're gonna make sure that your edges are sharp, okay? Now what you can do is you can take a string, which is my preference. Now just remember, see this red bit that we made for the middle? That's gonna probably be your front right there. So use your string accordingly. This string is a little bit too long. There we go. And then all you gotta do is you're going to tie it. So you could just do a little overhand knot. You don't need to go too crazy unless you know it's gonna be in like a very windy environment, but I usually just double knot it, just like that, okay? Doesn't look like a flower yet though. How do we make it a flower? Well, that's the fun part. So here we are, we're all secure. And then you just take one piece of tissue paper at a time and you just start fluffing it out. Oh, I forgot something. So before you start, don't fluff out yet. Okay, so if you just fluffed it out now, it wouldn't have petals. So what you can do with your scissors is you can cut whatever shape you want your petals to be. So I'm gonna do one like that. Do it on the other side. There we go. See all those edges that didn't match up? That was okay because we cut them off and now everything's pretty even. Now you can fan out either side and you could start pulling it out just like that. Or you don't need to fan it out and then it gets a little bit more crinkly, which is kind of fun. And you simply do it one layer at a time. So what I like to do, this one had a middle, but what I like to do is I like to alternate. So I did the front there, I'm gonna do the back there, because then I think it looks a lot floofier. Now I'm using a little tiny square of material. And you can use that. It does make a smaller flower. My hands are pretty small, and this flower is about the size of my hand. Now when you buy it, you could buy these from the store, but honestly they're very expensive and you could just make them for cheaper. So you could buy these at a store and they are really, really big ones. So that's why you don't really have to stick with this kind of smaller size if you don't want to. Look at that. I mean, look at how festive this looks. Now, one of my favorite things to do with this craft is you tie a bunch of them together and you make like a bunting. Look at that. You kind of fluff and you muss with it. It's kind of fun. You can take a string and you can tie to like your strings that are hanging from here. And you could tie a bunch of them together and have a little bunting. It's really pretty. And like I said, you don't need to use a string. You could use pretty much anything around your house. I haven't tried a rubber band. I know that sometimes what people do is they simply twist them in the middle. I find that doesn't stay as long and I like mine to be a little bit more permanent. Before all crafts, we always recommend that you wash your hands. I'll just warn you with this. When you wash your hands, make sure they're completely dry before touching the tissue paper, because tissue paper does bleed, which is another craft idea. This is something you might find in a store, but like I said, you can make it yourself. Just take a much bigger piece of tissue paper. So this is the size that I had gotten, this kind of square, but you just got to take a regular one that you might put in a gift bag. And you know, this person, whoever this company, just tied it with a ribbon in the middle. You could do that for sure. And the one thing I was going to show you, a little bonus craft out of this, if you have a bunting and you want like a butterfly every once in a while, all you need to do, this one's even easier, you're going to take one single piece of tissue paper and you are going to cut it after you fold it, just like with the flowers, but this time it's only one piece because we don't need to fluff it. We just need to fan it out. Here we go. It's really easy to do. This is a great craft for someone very young, because all they need to do is do this kind of accordion fold, and it's a great fold to teach a child. Get them into origami. Maybe they can get our regular origami badge that we always have. And all you need to do with this, and I really like, for this one, ooh, it's getting windy. For this one, I really like to use a pipe cleaner. You simply twist, 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 and you can make this into some antenna. And then all you need to do, like that, is make the wings. And these are just square wings. You can, again, cut it so they are, you know, a little patterned. You can do anything you want there. So that is our tissue paper craft today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll stay here for another moment. If anybody has any questions, I will answer them. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. I'm going to stay here till 1/4 And I hope you all have been logging your reading in Beanstack. I know that my daughter and I have, and boy, it's amazing how quick those minutes rack up for the library. We are trying to reach 1 million minutes this year, all online, so it should be easy to do if you go on vacation somewhere fun, or if, like me, you're on a staycation. You can always do that. And also make sure that you are getting your activity bags. Every week we change our activity bags, and you can earn some limited edition badges that are really lovely for the summer. So feel free to do that. All right, friends, I so appreciate you all coming here and watching me today. I hope that you will take a picture and show the Bucks County Free Library the tissue paper flowers that you have made. Have a great summer, and we will see you in the library soon. Bye, guys.